long-term basis. Now coming to the gaps, salinity is probably one gap. There is a program in the European Space Agency called SMOS, who may have, let's say, some gap coverage on the salinity and the moisture of soils. I addressed IOLUS for the wind speed measurement in the global atmosphere. This is something that is unique in the world. It's a world premiere. Only the Europeans have that. I'm sure that NOAA can testify that. We do not have it yet. It will be orbited in 2010, but it's a very important gap that will be covered. So far, the wind speed measurement all over the world is not existing. It's just by patches of data which can derive these measurements. So there are gaps that will be fulfilled thanks to the effort of R&D, of the scientists, and of course the technologies do give their effort as well, with industry very much behind that, to make these gaps covered.
We're going to come to our two industry representatives here, but just very quickly, perhaps both yourself, Rick, and Cosimo as well can answer. Is there too much duplication on some areas and some areas open, or are you feel that we have a good balance in the public domain of current things? Rick, Noah?
I would give a resounding no. There is not too much duplication. In fact, mostly what we're talking about here is continuity of data streams. And because there's always a question of calibration and validation, there is great merit in having systems that complement each other and make similar observations. So I think what you've heard here is an array of capabilities
that complement each other. Is this voulu, has it been purposefully done, or did it just sort of evolve that way for obviously financial reasons or other?
Well, I'm not the agency representative,
right, so
but I think it is done on purpose.
It's done on purpose.
For example, the METOP system is a European one carrying US instruments, and the counterpart NPOS system in the US, owned by NOAA, is as well carrying European instrument, and they complement each other in the fact that one is passing over the morning conditions and the other one is passing on the afternoon conditions. So it cannot be done by chance. It was done by
has to be thought out.
I would simply add to that the real value of the global Earth observing system of systems is that we have brought the nations together to have exactly this kind of dialogue. Who has what responsibility and how can we make them work together?
In your field, Kosovo, that might be just a little bit different, but we'll leave that because in the systems that are being developed, there's also a military side to it, so clearly there's some overlap.
Yeah, but speaking in terms of not duplication, but integration, I was thinking that just before I forget to mention a byproduct of the GNSS that is extremely interesting. It's worth remembering to the floor. It's the possibility of the reflectometry GPS using the constellation GNSS as a radio altimeter in practice. By the way, here we have an OAA, and there was a very interesting experiment in 2006 in the Gulf of Mexico, very successful, because you perfectly mapped using such a technique 100 by 100 kilometer in a perfect way. So complementarity of systems in a moment where the investment in space could become critical, even using some byproduct of already scheduled system, in my mind, in my opinion, could be a very interesting logical flow to be followed. For
future developments.
Yeah.
Can I just, before I finish that, just ask those who have already spoken before we get on to our industry people, do you think that you would be bringing into such a reasonable and important field of complementary work some of the new players, including in Asia? Would they be interested to be joining you in this kind of work, or will they be just going off on their own directions in India, China, or even Russia? Who would like to answer that? Go ahead.
Well, I'll briefly say that there's a lot of, the cooperation that we've talked about extends around the world. In fact, I'll be off to China in 2 weeks to talk about some of their capabilities in their HY series satellites. We've been talking with JAXA in Japan as well. I think it's fair to say that there is a lot of collaboration and cooperation and discussion of which nations want to take on which responsibilities through what kind of cooperative networks.
And do you think, especially for the oceans, the importance will be, of course, to have a really continuously global monitoring picture? And do you think that that is going to happen?
Very much so. In fact, Jean referred to the issues in ocean color, and this is a critical area where we are, in fact, in discussion with the Chinese about some of their capabilities as a gap filler as we move to the new ocean color sensors.
Yeah, it's a very good example, ocean color. We are manufacturing currently a system for the Koreans, or the Korean Maritime Agency, with an ocean color imager in geostationary orbit. And this ocean color imager is very much coordinated and cross-calibrated with all the other systems who contribute to bringing these data. Of course, it will be around Korea, but this is of course of global interest.
Exactly.
And we need that too in Europe. I hope it will come one day. So these coordination under the umbrella of the GEOS, the Global Earth Observation System of System, is something which is firming up. I would not say this is the end of the story. There is a lot of work to be done still, but this is coming for sure.
Thank you very much, very much, Jean. Patrick Motet from Thales. We're now getting into the industry end of things. And what are you working on concerning future challenges, particularly, of course, related to our oceans?
For us, oceanography is really a key area we are working on since the 90s, because actually the JSON satellites Richard has been speaking about have been developed in Thales, actually, in the 90s, in this cooperation between CNES